Honors Algebra 2, here we go. This is lesson 8.2.1, Introduction to Imaginary Numbers. So you can see I have my picture of my imaginary friend here, and he or she or they are going to help us with our work today. So a couple of examples to get us started. This is kind of the motivation of where do imaginary numbers come from, why do we have them. If I told you to solve this equation, you guys would probably want to use the quadratic formula, which you'd be right to do because this is not factorable. So even though I prefer factoring to quadratic formula, I know it's faster. This one is not one that's factorable, so we're going to need to use the quadratic formula. So you guys are super good at this. You're probably faster than me. Remember, when we square the b value, it will be positive all the time. Minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times 1. If I simplify this, whoops, we get 36 minus 64 all over 2. And you guys are thinking, well, wait a minute. When we subtract, we're going to get a negative number in here. And you guys got to bear with me, it's late. This is the third way of filming a video I have done today. So yeah, I used my calculator for that one. This is what I get. You would probably stop and say, no real solution. And you'd be right. If you say no solution, not right. But if you say no real solution, you're right. And this is going to be part of our motivation for imaginary numbers. Our second example is going to look similar to the first example. I'm going to ask you to solve. This time, instead of solving using the quadratic formula, I'm going to ask you to solve by completing the square. So, when we complete the square, lots of ways to do it, but we can leave space or move the 5 out of the way by subtracting. When I complete the square here, I want to take the b value, divide it by 2 to get 2, and then square it to get 4. And because I'm adding 4 on the left side of the equation, I also have to add 4 on the right. The left side can be rewritten as a perfect square binomial. This is the whole purpose of completing the square. And on the right side, I get -1. Okay? To undo and get x by itself, I do want to take the square root of both sides. I get x plus 2 on the left, and I get plus or minus the square root of -1. And again, as of right now, we don't know how to take the square root of -1, so we would stop and we would say no real solution. Okay? And starting today, you're going to find out there's actually are solutions to this problem. There's just no real solutions. Okay? So at this point in time, I want you guys to open, I'm going to say open your book, but that doesn't make sense. Go to your online textbook in chapter 8, section 8.2.1. There are 3 math notes boxes in this section, but there are 2 that are historical notes. I want you to read through those. I also want you to watch the YouTube video is called Imaginary Numbers Are Real. There should be 2 videos for you to watch. When you're done with those, I want you to come back and watch my second video in this section.